Hello, nice to be with you. Thank you for joining us. We are talking politics and religion without killing each other. I'm your host, Corey Nathan, and it is an honor to be a part of the Democracy Group. That's a network of podcasts that examines what's broken in our democracy and how we can work together to fix it. Remember to, before I get right into it, I haven't been saying this at the beginning, I've been saying it at the end, but I need to say it at the beginning. Follow me on all the socials, especially Substack. I've been really active there. I've been getting into some really great conversations over there. Substack and all the socials, you can find me at Corey S. Nathan, at Corey, S as in Sam, Nathan, at Corey S. Nathan. Now, let's get right to it. I'm just going to tell you, I got a fly in my ointment today. Something's really been bothering me. So what's been bothering me is that I've been noticing that when we've had these tragedies, these public tragedies, and when they strike in this country, our current leadership, they don't first reach for comfort or unity or healing. They're first. Now, this is not all of our leadership. I read the statements of all of our living past presidents the other day, right after the tragedy of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And all of them struck the right tone. So this is our current leadership, our current elected national leadership. So yeah, you might think, oh, Corey's being biased again. No, I'm going to go to the record right now. And I'm just going to be really freaking candid. And I'll tell you what, if this is a Democratic president, a Democratic administration, and they were doing this, I would call them out too. Or if you have a bug up your ass about something that Biden said or Biden's laptop or Hunter's or whatever, I'll tell you what, start your own freaking podcast and you do an episode on that. But I don't know. It doesn't really bother me. I'm not really obsessed with Hunter Biden's dick pics. Sorry, I'm already getting the explicit rating here. But no, I'm not really sorry because this isn't the same thing. This administration, every time something happens, somebody dies, a tragedy happens, the first move is to point fingers and say their opponents are to blame, as if they don't represent people who didn't vote for them. The fact that they see them, once we get past the election, they're not your opponents, they're your constituency. And we've seen this again and again and again. Not just since this tragedy, this murder of Charlie Kirk, but definitely we saw it in broad daylight, before investigators even had the basic facts. Trump, the vice president, Vance, and others in the administration were taught, what were they saying? Left-wing extremism, the radical left. Now, maybe, I don't know, if you haven't already clicked off because you're a Trump fan and you don't feel like listening to me criticize Trump, too freaking bad. I hope you are listening. And I'll tell you what, if you're in this area, let's go out for coffee. Let's go out for a beer. Let's freaking talk about it. But I'm calling it what it is. Radical left. Maybe you believe it. Maybe you buy into it. Maybe you're repeating it. Well, that's what this talk is about. I'm telling you to stop. I am telling you to stop because we each have agency. We each have a choice in how we do this. And the thing is, if the actions of one murderer in your mind somehow represents tens of millions of Americans, we got something really wrong here. If you're following Donald Trump's lead, come on. I mean, it doesn't take a genius or a moral superhero to know we should not be following Donald Trump's lead, whether you voted for him or not. Let's be candid. Let's be honest about it. This is not, I mean, even guys who really, really support him can say, oh, I don't like his tweets. Okay, great. At least we got you that far. So don't be following this guy's lead. But let me point it out. This is what he said. This violence is the result of the radical left Democrats constantly demonizing law enforcement. No, it's not. This violence was on the part of one individual, his lackey, J.D. Vance. He chimes in. He says, political rhetoric encourages violence against our law enforcement. Democrats, you can go straight to hell. You have no place in the political conversation. Actually, yes, they do. And let me say this loud and clear. They didn't do it. An individual did. One man made a terrible choice. And you cannot indict half the country for the crime of one person. So why does this matter? It matters because this is nothing new. It's one of the most poisonous forms of partisanship. And what it does is it takes a tragedy and weaponizes it. It divides neighbors and it turns neighbors into enemies. And it keeps us all trapped in this us versus them loop. It's nothing new. This is Carl Schmitt's philosophy, pre-World War II Germany. Us versus them political philosophy. Look, I've said this from the moment I heard about Charlie Kirk's assassination, this tragedy, this atrocity, that I want to give my friends who love Charlie Kirk space to grieve. I've been saying that from day one, from the second I heard about it. Folks should be able to grieve the way they need to. That's human. But if grief morphs into this blame game, this blanket blame, if it turns into anyone who voted differently than me is culpable for murder, that is not mourning. That's scapegoating. And I'm not going to have it. I just won't have it. So I'm going to back up for a second because there are better examples and healthier voices from our history. Not just in the distant past. Let me just read a few. There's great leaders from our past. Recent past too, whatever their politics. They understood that scapegoating corrodes a nation. Abraham Lincoln. This was just right before on the brink of civil war. He said, "We are not enemies, but friends." I echoed this in a recent episode. We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Frederick Douglass, same time period, said, "I would unite with anybody to do right and with nobody to do wrong." So let's be discerning. Let's remember how to discern right from wrong. Martin Luther King, Dr. King said, "We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools." That reminds me of Benjamin Franklin. We can hang together or hang separately or something along those lines. Ronald Reagan, first inaugural, urged us to see heroes all around us. He said, "Those who say we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look." And Jack Kemp, a relatively contemporary politician, and by the way, a true conservative, not these freaking fast food reality TV conservatives. I freaking hate that the likes of Donald Trump hijacked the word conservative. That's not conservative. Anyway, Jack Kemp, a real conservative, Republican, by the way, said democracy without respect for the dignity of each individual is not democracy at all. I wish people calling themselves conservatives and by the way, I should give credit where credit is due. There are people in today's Republican Party who at times seem to remember what being a conservative is. Like in this last week with the Jimmy Kimmel incident, there were people who came out of the woodwork, it seemed like, to finally push back and say, no, this is not free speech. The government imposing its will and dictating who can say what on what TV channels, that's not conservatism. That's not the American way. That's not free speech. So Jack Kemp, Ronald Reagan, Dr. King, Frederick Douglass, these are not soft words. They're strong, principled calls to reject this easy, lazy path of blame, and it embraces the harder path of building together, doing something together. Remembering that we have to live among each other. So yeah, maybe you can self-sort and geographically sort and move to some place that you think is all red or all blue or all whatever. I got a secret for you. It ain't. Wherever you move, it's not all this or all that. Wherever you go, there's different people everywhere. In the bluest of blue regions and the reddest of red regions, there's different people who think differently. And our job is to figure out how to learn to live among each other. So you might ask, how? How do we do this? What do we do? First thing I do is I don't take the bait. If somebody's talking to me, I mean, it happens to me all the time. It happened a couple of days ago. Somebody reached out. The first words out of their pie hole was, "Your party is responsible." My first question is, which party do you think you're referring to? Just because, in this case, he thought I was a Democrat. Why? Because I don't hate Democrats enough? Because I don't, bow down at my, Trump idol every day? That I don't express enough, respect or adoration for, King Trump? That's why you call me, no, I'm a conservative. I'm a real conservative, not a freaking fast food reality TV Trump conservative. So yeah, I must look like an alien to you. I must look like a Democrat to you because you don't know what conservative is. Anyway, that's an aside. Somebody says your party's responsible. I remind them, okay, I was actually nicer in this conversation. I said I'm actually an independent. I always have been, and my voting record reflects as much. I literally just came. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Where I just came from would surprise people who think I'm a Democrat. Um, Democrats won't have me. That's the thing. Democrats won't have me. But even if you're a Democrat or Republican, do you speak for anyone and everyone who's ever voted for a Democrat or Republican, respectively? But this all misses a point. I'm getting off track. This is not about my side or your side. Not everything has to be a side. So the point is, so when somebody says they did it, whether they are Democrats, Republicans, Trump supporters, progressives, whatever, the truth is they didn't do it. An individual did in this case. And that individual alone must be held accountable. So what I can do is choose how I engage. I don't need to look at my friends who voted for Trump and hold them responsible for, I don't know, Paul Pelosi being attacked with a hammer, for a state legislator in Minnesota being assassinated along with her husband. I don't, that's not something I need to do. That's this side versus the other side stupid game. It's a stupid game. That's a stupid game. And it's petty. And it's not accurate. And by the way, it only pushes my friend further away. Maybe you want to push him away. Maybe you want to isolate yourself from anybody who has any different thought than you do, who's ever voted even remotely differently than you do. Okay, you'll find yourself in a bubble somewhere. Good luck with that. But I choose to live among people. I choose to have conversations across my differences and get to know people, as human beings. So what do? I can ask them as human beings. Who are you? What are you all about? I want to learn about your story. So we could talk about policy. We could talk about how they see the country. What do you hope for the future? And I found when I approach people as human beings, as my neighbor, not my enemy, the conversation goes much better. Again, maybe you don't want to be in a conversation with them. Good luck with that. Maybe you don't want to be part of the solution. You just want to vent your anger in public on social media. What's that doing for you? How's that working out for you? But I don't know. I want to be part of the solution. So I ask questions, not as interrogations. I've talked about this before. There's a difference between asking genuine questions and interrogating people, or asking questions to set people up to, slam dunk on them. That's not my preferred style. But hey, if that's the first thing you got to do just to be in a conversation and you want to be in a debate or a contest or whatever, fine. That's a good start. But I'm saying take this a step further. And I'm saying show genuine curiosity. What Monica Guzman talked about, I never thought of it that way. Leave room for the possibility you'll arrive at that moment when you're asking someone, learning about them, learning about their stories, learning why they feel the way they feel, learning what they see, what they don't see, what doesn't bother them. In my case, I don't know, Hunter Biden's laptop, it doesn't bother me. It bothers some people endlessly. It's not something I lose sleep over. I'm sorry. I'm just not curious about his dick pics. Yeah, I know it's connected to all these other things and, whatever. Biden influenced social media, all this stuff. Okay, fine. I'll listen to you. If that's an obsession of yours, I'll listen to you. Make the case. Tell me why I'm wrong, as somebody famous once said. Tell me why I'm wrong. But right now, I ain't losing sleep over Hunter Biden's freaking laptop. I don't need to see those pictures. And I'm not making the connections. I don't see the conspiracy. But that's just me. Prove me wrong. I'm open to it. What I do want to be in is the conversation. What I do want to do is nurture the relationship. And maybe that doesn't solve everything. Asking genuine questions, not interrogations, but questions. Maybe it doesn't solve anything, but it does change the tone. One conversation at a time, one question at a time, one person at a time. And mostly engaging that way, it pushes back against the poison, this poison that we're getting from the very highest levels of this administration across the board. That's what I've referred to this before. It's a very old concept. In Judaism, it's called Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, one small repair at a time. So no, I am not going to play Trump's game. I'm not going to follow Vance's lead. I'm not going to join the chorus of scapegoating from the likes of the FBI director, Kash Patel, or the Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, any of them. And it sucks that the so-called leaders of this country are setting the worst kind of example, but I can't control that. I can control whether I fall into the trap of scapegoating, generalizing, mischaracterizing, vilifying. And back to my point, I'm not gonna join the chorus of scapegoating because, again, they didn't do it. I'm not going to hold my neighbor or my family member who voted differently than me culpable for the worst offenses of anyone else who might have voted the way that they voted if it's different than me. Scapegoating, this is the bottom line. Scapegoating is cowardice. Scapegoating is morally and intellectually lazy. Listening, respecting, really engaging, that takes character. That takes courage. And that's the courage that we could all use right now. Yeah, I'm going to leave it right there. So, as always, if you dig what we're doing here, or if you don't, if you disagree, I want to know about it. And maybe you will pick something up from this show. I'm going to ask you, if it is something that piqued your curiosity or may piss you off this time, that's fine. I still want you to follow the show. Write a review. I hope it's 5 stars. If you really disagree, write a 3-star review and tell me why it sucks, because I want to make it better. I ain't perfect. I believe in Jesus, but I ain't Jesus. That's 2 things I know for sure. So I ain't perfect. I know that. And today I'm blowing off a little bit of steam, but hopefully there's some substance here that you can engage with. So follow the show, write the review. They all help. I really do appreciate your support. I love the conversations, even when they piss me off. I still love them. You can watch these conversations, as you know, at YouTube, youtube.com/@politicsendreligion, youtube.com/@politicsendreligion. And again, I am at Corey S. Nathan, at Corey, S as in Sam, Nathan. All the socials, especially Substack. I love Substack. Your support really does make a difference. So thank you for all of it. Now, I say this and I know I'm joking. Like, I'm not really joking, but I realize I've been hot under the collar today. Go talk some politics and religion with gentleness and respect. I got to take my own advice. And have a great week.